first album, Eric Sermon, Redman, Method Man, RZA, all these guys, and we went platinum. So then I did the second album, then I did the third album, and then I started my own label. But again, it was about the opportunity that was presented. We don't get a lot of chances to get somebody to say, "Hey, I'll give you 10 million." So we don't get those chances. I'm in LA working out, and a guy comes and says, "Hey, I'm doing a movie called Blue Chips. We need a young big man. You want to be in the movie?" I was like, "Man, I'm not really that good. Don't worry about it. You got to play yourself. 2 million." I'm like, man, I can't. Like, I want to do it. I don't want to do it, but I can't turn down these opportunities. There's also an opportunity for me to do something that's never been done in my family. And my father would always tell me, "Hey, man, basketball ain't gonna live forever. You got to have something to fall back on." So this was just extra cash for me to get, just in case I did everything wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I planned to be a great basketball player. I did plan to be that. I also planned to figure out ways to where I'm not part of the stat that says 70% of guys when they're done playing don't have anything. I didn't want to be that. So I said, I'm going to take advantage of all opportunities. So then, when I came out, Nike was like, "Hey, we're going to give you a shoe." And I was like, "Cool, but I want to have my shoe with my own name on it." "Nah, you ain't ready for that, blah, blah, blah." And then we got another guy by the name of Alonzo Mourning. We already gave him this, we gave him that. So then I was like, nah. And then Reebok said, "Look, we're going to give you your own shoe. You're going to put your name on that thing. You can have jackets, you can shirts." I was like, "You know what? I'll take that deal." And then you watch people before you. Magic and Bird, they did it, but they did it on a small level. Mike did it to the level to where he hasn't played in 25 years and people still breaking NBA. So
Right.
I was following Mike. Nobody's ever going to beat Mike, but you know how it is on the block. If you can't beat him, you could be next to him though. So wherever his shoe was at in Foot Locker and Foot Action, I made sure my shoe was right next to him. So of course everybody, they're always going to pick the Mikes, but you may have some Shaq fans, you may have some other fans that may want something different. So
Right.
all my shoes did very well. Then one day, I'm walking out the Orlando arena, and this lady cursing me out. "You mother effers, y'all be charging our babies all this money for the shoe." And I was young in the business. I was like, "Ma'am, I don't make the price, but here you go. I got 2,000. Here, buy whatever you want. You ain't got to just buy it." And she smacked the money out of my hand. And she said,
Mm.
"Somebody need to make an affordable shoe." So then I said, "You know what? She's right." Because I remember coming up, I would never go in the room and ask my dad, "Hey, can I borrow $100 to pair some shoes, buy some shoes?" He'd look at me like I was crazy. So I dropped my Reebok deal. I started my own line, and then I said, "Okay, who's the number one store in the world?" Walmart. They got so many stores, and people that come from where we come from. I know you're from South Carolina. I'm from Jersey, Georgia. Our families don't make enough to where kids can buy $100 shoes. So a
Right.
lot of people shop at Walmart. So I did a deal with Walmart, and ever since 1995, I've sold over 200 million pair of shoes.
Yeah. They,
But it's all about taking advantage of opportunities. I wish I could have, can tell the kids I did it like this, I did it like that. A lot of this stuff came. The opportunity was presented to me. I took advantage of it. I was professional with it, and I'm able to, still be in business to this day.
man, and you've done it at a huge level, and you've influenced a lot of people like Marbury and Al Harrington, that protege. A lot of people try to take the route that you obviously paved, for many of us. And one of the things I've never had a chance to ask you is, you've been such a leader, obviously on the court. You're very welcoming in many ways amongst athletes, and we know a lot of athletes ain't like that, right? And why do you feel it's so important to be that leader from a athletic standpoint, also from a community leader standpoint?
Because we're all in this together. I remember when I first met you when you was a youngster. It does me no justice to be mean to you. It only does me justice by showing you the way, showing you how to go get it. Because Dr. J showed me the way. When I met Dr. J, he was my idol. I damn near had a tear when he came to my room at LSU, and he was the nicest guy ever. And like he gave me tips. He said, do this, do that. David Robinson was another guy. I met Bill Russell. You know, I met Will Train, like all these guys. And then the guy that really take to the next level was Magic Johnson. Because I arrived in LA when I was 18, 19 years old, and he just showed me the way, showed me how to do it. And what I stole from him was he's always nice to people. He always shakes people's hands. He always smiles. So all my idols, I would take a little bit of what they did, and then I would, just add it to my own character. But you know, I understand now that I'm the OG. I wasn't always the OG. I was the YG. But now when I see young fellas, I just give them game, and they can either take the game or they cannot take the game. It doesn't matter to me. But we're all in this together. When you guys play well, everybody benefits. So and then stuff that I do in the community, I've been doing that my whole life. My father always told us to go to the shelters and all the stuff that we didn't need in our house, take it to them. If we had extra money, buy some food, do that. I remember one time, this true story, playing against the Knicks in the Garden. I had a terrible game. I think it was like my first time in the Garden. I was terrible. My father said, "Where you at?" I said, "Man, we just arrived in Orlando, getting off the plane. Bring your ass over here." My parents was living in Orlando. So I get to the house and my father was upset. "You nervous? You couldn't handle the pressure?" I was like, "Yeah, it was a lot of pressure." "Get your ass in the car." He takes me in the car and he drives me like 5 minutes from his house. And there was this homeless family that he was taking care of. There was a guy, his wife, and 2 kids. They didn't have anything. And my dad would take them money every now and then and, take them food. And he said, "This is pressure." I said, "What do you mean?" He said, that guy right there and his wife and his kids, they don't know where their next meal is coming from. And you make all this money, you got all these damn rap albums and commercials, and you talking about you got pressure. Get out. So what you mean get out? He said, "Get out and make sure they're straight." So I had to get out, make a few phone calls. A friend of mine I know owned an apartment, got him an apartment. Another friend of mine I know had to, get him a job. But it taught me a valuable lesson that, you know, we don't really have pressure. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves, but it's not really pressure. So I think that made me become a better player. And then I just really, really care about people. Like, I got a lot of people hitting me now saying, "You're doing this and you're doing that." And I said, "No, no, it ain't about me. I'm cool. But what about the guy?" Like, for example, it was a guy living next door neighbor to me because of what's going on now. 30 years at Disney, just lost his job. I feel for this guy. I walk around the neighborhood and I see him every now and then. And he's like, "Man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I got to get a job and this and that." So it ain't about me, but I've always cared about people, and I've always been that type of guy.
And you definitely carried that persona about yourself. That's for sure. One of the things before I forget, man, because we have some other similarities as well. Is first I want to congratulate you and your son on his commitment to LSU. I know that had to be a special
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, it
moment
was.
for you.
It was.
But the thing that I was proud about the most, and I actually sent him a DM, was his bounce back from his heart surgery. And obviously, my daughter has had two. She just I think she's 12 weeks from her second one. Talk a little bit about just kind of your feelings and how proud you are about his ability to fight back, get back, and still, get to a point where he's about to have a tremendous career.
The good thing about my children, I tell them all the time, we don't need another basketball player. I can care less if you go to LSU and dominate. I can care less if you go play and don't get drafted. I don't care. I want you to have fun, and I want you to try your best. So when he was going through his stuff, I was like, "Listen, man, you ain't got to play. You do not have to play. But you do have to go get 1 or 2 degrees, and then I'll show you the way." Because I got 6 kids. I would love to have one that runs a hedge fund. I would love to have one that runs a pharmaceutical company. I would love to have one that takes over my company. I would love to have one that has their law firm. The other side has been doing this a long time. It's called nepotism. I said, "I paved the way. I got it. We can branch out now and do something else." He's like, "No, I want to play. I want to play." So I never really pressured him. He worked his ass off. He got back. And the good thing about our relationship is when I tell him stories, being that who I am, he knows that my stories are true, and my stories are not always about me. So with him going through this hard thing, I'm like, "Listen, When you come back, you know you're going to have to start all over. He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, the greatest players start all over. He said, what do you mean? I said, okay, it's only a few guys that started started great at high school and was great their whole career. Maybe Kobe, maybe LeBron, but not even Kobe, because Kobe was great in high school, but you remember he didn't really play a lot his first 2 years. Then he worked his way back up. And I even said with Mike, I said, Mike got cut his sophomore year in high school. You know that, right? Oh, I didn't know that. I said, yeah, he got cut his sophomore year, had to work and come back. Then when he got to college, he sat out. Then he came back. Then when he got to the NBA, he had that leg injury. So you're gonna have to put in that extra work to get back. And he's definitely put in the extra work. But then when he went to UCLA, his coach was on some different stuff. I try not to get involved with that. So he's like, I don't like it here. I want to go somewhere else. I said, okay, you can do that, but now you're two blocks behind on getting onto the main strip where all the cars are hanging out. You was one block behind, but now you're 2 blocks behind. So now you got to put in extra work. So he's ready. He's been putting in that extra work. And I try to tell him all the time. I said, look, you're not one of these cats that need to rush to the NBA. You need to perfect your game. Because even if you're the best college player, when you get to the NBA, Giannis, you're going to have to face Giannis and KD. You're going to have to start all over. Like, you're going to be good. You'll probably be one of the top college players, but you ain't fucking with Giannis yet. Not yet. You see what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
man, he did it, man, and it's interesting because my daughter wouldn't have she wouldn't have had to have a second surgery if she chose not to play volleyball, right? And so I had the same conversation where I said, look, you don't have to play volleyball, right? We good, we got businesses, we got, we financially set, and she just fought back. So I think a lot of that is pedigree too, right? And it's just in them, right? Just to keep fighting. And that's one thing I really respect about his transition and her transition for sure. And I got to ask you this. I know we got about 14 minutes for this hour live cut off, but how was your, I was interested, I know obviously some of your youth experience. How was your youth experience and what are some of the things that you went through to get you to the point that you're at today?
I was thinking about this the other day, and I'm glad you asked it. Remember the Bad Boys era?
Mm-hmm.
I was a teenager in the Bad Boys era, but I was 6'7", 6'8", age 13 and 14. So they would throw me out there with the men, and I would get beat up. And I had a couple cousins and uncles that would never let me be soft. Yo, push him back. Yo, he elbowed you. Like, so that's how I grew up playing. Then I started playing football, and because of what they taught me, I love physical contact. So
Mm-hmm.
now when I'm coming in and when I'm coming up, I'm like, you know what? I don't have the footwork of a Christian Laettner. I don't have the defensive prowess of Alonzo Mourning, but I got these elbows though, and I like you see what I'm saying. So I said, you know what? Let me perfect this power game, and that was my game. Like people always say, oh, you could have been the best. I never strived to be the best. I wanted to be the most dominant, because as you know, as soon as you develop yourself as a big man, the defenses don't let you do all that. I tell people all the time, I could have stepped out like Duncan and Garnett, but defense wasn't gonna let me do that. So I had to get it, throw some bowls, create space, and go to the quick jump hook. So being that I saw all the greats before me, it helped me season my game. So if you look at how I dunked the ball, I got that from Ronnie Cycli. Ronnie Cycli at Syracuse, Sherman Douglas used to always throw him to his lob, and Ronnie Cycli used to always kick his legs up. I stole that. Michael Jordan had the jump man. So when I was in college, I had a business class. I patented dunk man. So, Magic Johnson would always smile and always was nice. I took to that. Jordan was dominant, did that. Uh, Patrick Ewing was mean, made faces. I took that. David Robinson liked to run the court. I took that. So I used to watch all these guys and add it to my game. And then when I started, becoming who I was, I just tried to, maintain that dominance. And they always talk about the '80s and the '90s, but the times we played, that was really really good too. Like people always ask me, how would you do now? Me and you are both average 30 right now because there ain't no hand checking. Big guys want to step out and shoot jumpers. Don't nobody want to go in the post. it's just simple. But I've learned a lot from watching all the greats before me, and that's why every time I see a great before me, I show them nothing but honor and respect. Like people always want to tell me, he would have did this, he would have did that. None of that matters. If it wasn't for Magic, Bird, Jordan, it wouldn't be no us. And if it
Yep.
wasn't for guys like me and you, it wouldn't be no Giannis and no Dirk and those guys. So that's why we should always, take care of each other. And then a lot of times when I'm on TNT and I'm going at these guys, you know me, I'm not a personal guy. They're taking it personal. But what I want
Right.
them to do, I want them to get mad.
Yeah.
I want them to get like Dwight.
Bond.
Like Dwight, I've been going at Dwight for years. Not because I don't like him. I think he's a great kid. I want you to get mad because he jumped higher than me and you ever did.
Mm-hmm.
He has more muscles than me and you ever had. He should be at the top, right?
Yeah.
Right? So
Yep.
I'm giving him the answers for years, but he thinks it's personal. It's never personal. We got the blueprint on what it takes to be good and great big men in this league. And I'm just trying to pass it down. Sometimes these guys take it, sometimes they don't. A lot of times when I go at these guys and I see them, most of them say, "Thank you. You were right." Because one, I don't have to say something out of malice. I don't. Everything you've done, I done probably already did. But if I could see something to help you get to that next level, that's what I'm always doing. Sometimes they understand, sometimes they don't. But my favorite big guys right now, even though they don't play like big guys, but I like Giannis, I like Nurkic, and that's about it. That's
Yeah.
about it. And that's
I got.
sad because when we were playing, it was at least like 6 or 7, 8 big men you could just rile off. But now I'm only watching two.
And that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you next, but I got to ask you this because I was wondering, were you always that damn strong at a young age? I remember, true story. I remember we were I was a young boy with Portland, and I remember coming inside the Staples Center, and you was in the weight room working out before the game. And I remember they had you down. I don't know if he was on. I can't remember. He was on. I think he was on the floor, and they had these bands on you. You had these people holding the bands down, and I think they might have been throwing the medicine ball. And I remember walking in, and I was like, "Oh hell!" I said, "This man here is unreal strong."
Yeah,
Was that natural,
yeah,
or you
yes,
worked it?
yes, and no. When I first started becoming a pretty good player, my father would say every day, "You don't play well, your mama don't eat." Like he was like say that every day. He's like, "If you don't play well, your mama don't get a new house." And that was always and like I'm a nice, funny guy. I play better when I'm mad though. Like for example, when I saw you, I was like, "Oh, this is one of my little cousins trying to come up and be the number one O'Neal." I got, what I'm saying. So like, I would always, even though I like you, you was always my boy. But when you're on the other side, I always got to say something to do something to
Right.
make me mad. For example, David Robinson was always nice to me. So I made up this thing in my head. Oh yeah, remember when I was 13, I asked you for an autograph and you ain't signed it now, but it was never true. So
Oh, that story
yeah,
wasn't true.
no, it wasn't true. It wasn't true. But he was so nice. Like I'm not a bully, but he was just so nice. Like I need to play like a bully. See what I'm saying? But he was so nice. I'm like I can't bowl the Admiral Dave Robinson. But if I don't
And
like
you
you,
kicked. Hey man, listen, you dunked on and kicked him out of bounds, bro.
that's because I didn't like him at the time. I didn't like him. I really didn't like him. So I was strong, but it was more of a adrenal strong rather than a physical strong. Because my thing was, if I don't play well, my mom don't eat. If I don't play well, my kids don't eat. And that was always my go to make me mentally strong.
Man, I tell you what, man, I don't know what you call it, but I call it unreal strength.
Frosted
Because
Flakes,
they had,
baby.
yeah,
Frosted Flakes, baby.
now listen, they had to redo for people that might be too young to know this, but they had to redo the hoops because of this man, right? They had to start strapping down the damn rims and systems
Okay, but
because of you.
this is what happens. So in high school, my junior year, I got 47 after 3 quarters. I'm still not dunking my junior year. I'm 6'11". I don't want to dunk. You know how it is. I want to bring it up, cross people up, shoot jumpers. So I steal the ball at half court. I finger roll and miss. My father calls a timeout. I say, "Yo, man, get your ass outside." So he takes me outside. So, "Yo, man, what you doing?" I'm like, "Look, man, I'm just working on my bow. Start dunking. Stop messing around. Start dunking." So I came back in. Everybody knew I got touched up when I guess I had a little tear in my eye. Coach called the player and said, "Nah, we're not doing that. Throw it to me." So I would always dunk and try to break the rim because I was mad at him. So when I started doing that and I started seeing the defense do like this, I was like, "Oh, this is what he was talking about when he always used to say going strong." Because between me and you, I never started dunking until the end of my junior year. I was 6'11", never even thought about dunking. Mine was like a little pull up,
Mm.
take it off the thing, go coast to coast, lay it up, smack the glass. I would never like get it off the rebound and then just go up two hands. I would always just finger roll it in. And he just got tired of seeing that. And when I tell you, he put the paws on me, dog, in front of everybody. And like I couldn't cry after that, but I was just so mad I wanted to tear the rim off. Every time I dunked, he would go. I was like,
Well, damn it, you was mad for a long time. That's for damn sure. Uh, that's for sure.
I have a
I gotta
question.
ask you this.
I have a question, and I don't know if it's true. I don't go back and tell people on the internet. So apparently, Draymond said that they would have pick and rolled us to death, right? The Lakers.
Mm.
But then I was thinking they probably would have been the sixth or the seventh seed. Think about it. You got us. Utah was mean. You had
Mm-hmm.
you guys. You had C Webb and you had Sack and you had the Spurs. So I'm thinking they probably wouldn't even been there. What do
Yeah.
you think on that?
Well, and the people don't realize too is that the culture and the league has changed, right? You know, the physicality is different. If we're talking about the contact of those years, it'd have been tough for him. It'd have been really tough for him.
Yeah, because I was thinking about saying something, but then I don't even think they would have been there. Look, think about it. Because you guys, it was you, Rasheed, Steve Smith. Y'all would have been a tough matchup. Sacramento would have been a tough matchup because they run too, right?
Yep.
San Antonio pick and roll. Utah was the best pick and roll team in the West at the time. Then you had us. I think they would either been a six or seven seed. But I like conversation like this because it's answers that we can
Yeah.
never find out. And like I understand Draymond, protecting his team and doing that, but come on, Draymond, you're gonna hurt me.
Hey, we got about 3 minutes. Let me ask you something. If it was one thing, if you could tell a kid, an athlete that's aspiring to be a great athlete, what would that be? What would you tell them?
I would tell them today, take advantage of technology. What I mean by that, let's just say Tracy McGrady is your favorite player. YouTube all his moves and steal them. That's it. I see a lot of kids getting these trainers and all that. All that's cool, but the greatest ones never had those trainers. The greatest ones just went out and played. So whoever your favorite player is, steal all his moves. Take them. Steal all his moves. Add your own sauce to it. Protect it. If you're a guard, when you shoot it, leave it up there. The greatest shooters, they shoot it and leave it. You need to watch Steph Curry, Ray Allen, Reggie Miller, guys like that. And that's the only thing I could tell them. Like, I kind of messed up, but it was a blessing. When my boys were coming up, I thought they were going to be like 6'4", 6'5". So I trained them like guards, which is why they could step out and shoot and have great handles. So, and I never showed them my stuff. Never ever. I said, hey, here's your Uncle T Mac. Check him out. Here's your Uncle Kobe. Here's your Uncle B Shaw. He's gonna teach you how to throw lob. So, they watch all those guys, and I tell them, I say, hey man, steal everybody's move because if you look at players today, you can say he's like this, he's like that. Like I could like look at any great player and say he's like this, he's like that. All right, brother. Call me anytime and tell my niece if she need anything, holler at me, brother.
I'll do that. Hey, I hope everything panned out last night too.
Oh yeah, you already know it did.
All right, well, I appreciate you.
7 minute 7 minute workout though. It wasn't that long.
Right.
All right, love you.
All right, later, boy. Man, he's a fool. All right, I got to get back. I'm a chime out and get back on with my guy Jay Keller. Shaq, super dope. Hopefully, people taking in all this information. But I appreciate everybody about getting on. Like you guys get back on, so I can get Jay Keller. See if his internet's working right now. See you guys in about 30 seconds. All right.